Marvel fans, we need to talk about all the latest X-Men rumors.
Yes!
That's right, I'm sure you're aware there have been a ton of different rumors and updates and leaks about what's going on with the X-Men and why that plan's probably changing, and in this video, I'm breaking it all down. Okay, so I think the best way to start this video is to talk about what Marvel's original plan was for the mutants or the X-Men. Marvel Studios, of course, got the rights back to the mutants from 20th Century Fox because of that merger of assets that happened all the way back in 2019. And even at San Diego Comic-Con 2019, Kevin Feige was fielding questions about the X-Men and the mutants. He even name-dropped the mutants at the big Hall H presentation. But through the interviews from that Comic-Con and also different reports out there, we realized that Kevin Feige had already had a 5-year plan without the X-Men, and it was going to be several years before he actually utilized the X-Men within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, Marvel has, of course, started to slowly introduce mutants into the 616 MCU universe with characters like Namor, with characters like Kamala Khan, but for the most part, the X-Men have been non-existent in anything going on since the Infinity Saga. And reportedly, the plan from Kevin Feige was to not really focus on the 616 mutants until after Secret Wars, and instead, he was going to utilize the Fox X-Men characters throughout different universes within the multiverse saga, and even the Secret Wars movie itself was going to heavily focus on Fox X-Men characters. Originally, we were going to get a lot of MCU 616 mutants and X-Men after Secret Wars and after the rumored MCU soft reboot. And there are a lot of reports that indicate that after that soft reboot, the mutants will be the focus of the next saga, of all of the rest of the movies that will be happening after Secret Wars. So that's the original plan, but things have clearly changed. I want to read a report to you now from Alex Perez over at the Cosmic Circus. Alex says here, we can confirm from our sources that there have been discussions about the mutants having a more pronounced role in the upcoming phase of the multiverse saga than initially anticipated. This is in the hopes of establishing mutants in a more meaningful way on Earth 616 before the conclusion of the saga. Some ideas include a mutant series on Disney Plus focusing on individual stories for several mutants, a la What If, or an X-Men film under the Marvel Studios brand down the road prior to Avengers Secret Wars. According to one source, another idea that's been tossed around involves an Avengers vs. X-Men film set between the members of the 616 Avengers and the X-Men. However, it's still too early to discuss as the X-Men have not yet made their way to the 616 universe yet. So the line about having a more pronounced role in the upcoming phase of the multiverse saga than initially anticipated more or less confirms what we were just talking about. The original plan was to not really deal with the mutants or the X-Men on 616 until after Secret Wars because Feige was going to just lean into the Fox X-Men and just utilize them for his multiversal project. The new reports suggest that they are going to do the X-Men a lot faster with the hopes of establishing the X-Men on the 616 universe before Secret Wars, before the multiverse saga ends. And they suggest that Disney Plus shows that maybe focus on different mutants within 616, something like What If that more or less focuses on a different character each week, and that could absolutely work. However, I will tell you, even though it seems maybe a little counterintuitive, if Marvel were to make live action Disney Plus shows that focused on mutants or X-Men or things of that nature, I think that would instantly be way more popular than a lot of what they've been releasing on Disney Plus currently. I mean, the current philosophy for Marvel Studios is like, save the big cool ideas for the movies, do the watered down, slower, more street level stuff on Disney Plus. And I think the audiences are just seeing way past that. There's so much great television, so much epic, exciting television. Why would you spend your time watching a lesser version of an MCU movie on Disney Plus? But if you were to add mutants to those shows, if you were to go big with some mutant stuff on those shows, I think you instantly have stuff that a lot more people will be excited about and that a lot more people would be willing to check out. Now, they also talk about in this article movies, right? An actual X-Men movie that will happen before Secret Wars on 616. This would be a crazy big change to what the original plan was, but it could absolutely work. There's not really too much else going on in the current MCU that fans are really connected to or that are really following, so introducing the idea of the mutants could again be instantly more interesting than a lot of the other stuff they're already doing. Like even Captain America 4 and the Thunderbolts movie, like there's no character draw there. Like we know nothing about what's going on in the current MCU. We know nothing about what's going on with Falcon as Captain America. Like, is that even real? Did that really happen? Or was Falcon and the Winter Soldier just a bad dream? So if they went right into the X-Men and started developing X-Men, you give the audience a chance to get excited about something that's familiar but also new. This is very similar to the Infinity Saga, and especially Phase 1, where a lot of the fun that audience members were having was based on actually seeing for the very first time what different characters would be like in this Marvel cinematic universe. Like, that's what it was. A lot of people already kind of knew who Thor was. A lot of people knew who Captain America was, but seeing what the MCU version of those characters would be like, that was a big draw. So you could be doing that again with the X-Men characters and the MCU version of the X-Men. Yeah, of course, there's gonna be a lot of interest around something like that. So again, frankly, I believe doing these sort of ideas will solve a lot of Marvel's problems. However, Marvel is also doing a lot of reshoots, delaying a lot of projects, and changing them. So a project like Ironheart is a great example. They finished filming this show almost 2 years ago, and apparently they're going to do extensive reshoots next year to basically remake the whole show and get it ready for a 2025 release. They've delayed all of the movies except Deadpool 3 out of 2024, and they're doing crazy reshoots and rewrites on Captain America, on Thunderbolts. So from my perspective, I think it would be a huge W if they just introduced mutants into a lot of these projects that they are already delaying and changing and making reshoots. I mean, again, if Feige is really trying to streamline X-Men, get them into 616 a lot faster, why not introduce them into Captain America 4? The Captain America 4 movie was already going to focus on Tiamat Island, on the idea of adamantium, on super soldiers, and maybe even mutants in some small way. So I say, why not just go crazy on that? Introduce the mutant problem as a big thing that General Ross is fighting and struggling with. Like, just go hardcore into the mutants and change Captain America 4 to be about mutants, about Weapon X. All that would really make that movie a lot more interesting and solve the problem of getting to mutants faster. You could do that with Ironheart. You can do that in the Thunderbolt movie. Just take the ideas that you were gonna do in a post-MCU soft reboot world and introduce them in these projects that you're already changing. Now, the last thing we gotta talk about is this crazy thing that was said in the report about Avengers versus X-Men. And dude, look, Avengers vs. X-Men, I like that comic book run. It's not even that good. Like, a lot of people say it's not that great, but it was super epic, gave us incredible fight scenes, and it was very hype. A lot of Marvel fans look back at that time period very fondly, and there was a ton of books. Everybody was checking it out. It was freaking awesome. And it's a no-brainer to be done in a big Marvel movie. That's a no-brainer. Like, Avengers vs. X-Men would be huge. It's likely going to be bigger than Secret Wars. Like, that is a big freaking movie. Now, as they mentioned in the article, you probably can't just do that on 616. If you want to get there, you better start introducing mutants like yesterday, because we don't really know who the Avengers are. We don't have any idea what's going on with the mutants in 616. So I kind of think it's unlikely you get to an Avengers vs. X-Men movie within 616. However, there are a lot of crazy rumors out there about this Game of Worlds kind of thing happening in the MCU where different multiverses are all fighting against each other to try to save their own universes, to stop the collapse of the multiverse. And there were long established rumors that 838 universe would still be coming back and that the entire multiverse saga might lead to a 616 versus 838 conflict. And so what I really think could be great and be a perfect stepping stone into Secret Wars and that whole idea is to do an Avengers versus X-Men movie, but it's the X-Men of a different universe. We've already seen some of this, right? With Beast being set up at the end of the Marvels, with what they're doing in Deadpool 3, with what was going on in the 838 universe. But to do that properly, you still need to set up whatever universe is going to represent your X-Men for the X-Men versus the Avengers. And I think they could absolutely do that, but it might be difficult to juggle establishing 616 X-Men, trying to figure out the Avengers of 616, while also building up an X-Men universe that's eventually going to invade our universe and try to take us out. I think it would be challenging, but I do think they could pull it off, and it could be a great stepping stone into Secret Wars. You can have all kinds of multiversal fun with Avengers versus X-Men, two universes colliding. Man, that actually sounds pretty epic to me. Man, I really hope they go in this direction. It could solve a lot of the problems, but those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you think in the comments section below. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.